Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the return of the GT7 League here at Gavra Racing for Season 8, Round 1, and as you can see, we are in some slightly different cars than we are used to seeing. The Super Formula 23, not the 2019, but the 23, the latest edition of Super Formula. Now, we've got 9 drivers on tonight's grid, but plenty more joining the way for next week's race. So without further ado, let's go through the qualifying order that preceded the 15-minute qualifying session. The reigning champion, Play Duchy, lines up on pole position, kicking things off just how he ended last season. He gets an extra 3 points for starting on pole and 3/10 quicker than the man in second, who will take 2 points for second place. Born Evil 99, rocking a Golf Williams Racing livery, and 1 point for third place is Cameron Kaboom, making up the top 3. And as for this season, we are running the official Super Formula points system, so 1, 2 and 3 points available in qualifying for the top 3. Just behind him in fourth place is a returning driver, someone who we've not seen since, I believe, season 2, and that is Oriol. The Spaniard lines up just behind Cameron Kaboom on the second row of the grid, and in fifth place is myself, but like last season, I will refer to myself in the third person, X-Strategy, running the Armstrong New Zealand themed livery, as done so on the last season's car. Just behind him on the third row of the grid in sixth place is Piero, rocking a nice pink and dark bluey purple Super Formula livery, similar to the one he rocked last season. In behind him we've got Abyss in seventh place, just starting ahead of the Scout Dan in 8th place, and the Vodafone Mercedes livery on that Super Formula, very nice indeed. And rounding up the back of the pack, last but not least, is Black Country Mush in a red, white and black, very aggressive looking Super Formula. And only 9 drivers tonight, but it could mean that the pack is very close in the race. Plenty of drivers joining us next week. I'm going to do a quick audio check. And by quick, I mean, I've just done it right there, and I believe we are all good to go. I've got my facts up next to me. No, I don't, because there's an advert. Moving past the advert, we can get this race underway. For those of you who are slightly confused as to what's happening, we do the races on Friday evenings, but because I'm also on the grid, I do the post-commentary a lot later. Also, a disclaimer for both drivers and the viewers, I might not be available each week to do the stream on the Saturday or even the Sunday, so there may be a little bit of a delay between the race actually happening and the stream getting out live, but I will do my best to try and get them out as quickly as possible. Without further ado, let's get this Spanish Grand Prix underway for round 1, season 8, not 9, 33 laps of this Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya, the reigning champs on pole, and it's lights out, and away we go. Play Duchy leads the field away, but Bon Evil's got a good start off the line already alongside and ahead of Duchy in the run down towards turn 1, 580 metres between the pole position and the first corner. Bon Evil on the inside of Play Duchy, side by side. Cameron Kaboom trying to go round the outside of the car off, over the bump. That's X-Strategy taking flight as he negotiates his way through the chicane and loses the rear in fourth gear through turn 3 and is in the gravel and will fall down to the back of the pack. Meanwhile, the Scout Dan side by side with Abyss in the run down towards turn 4, make a little bit of contact on the inside at the apex, but it's the Vodafone McLaren on the inside, but Abyss holds it round the outside. Dan starting the race in the red striped soft compound tyres. I believe everyone else is on the mediums apart from Abyss, who's opted for the hard compound tyres. Dan on those softs will have a good run, good traction through the corners. Meanwhile, Play Duchy leads the field away from pole position, and Cameron Kaboom has got up into second place. Bon Evil dropping down to third place, running wide over the curb, and that could be a 5/10 penalty for the Brit. We'll have to wait and see, and there it is, flashing above his name, hits the back of Cameron Kaboom, while Piero goes through down the inside as a result of the contact, and Bon Evil's actually got front bumper damage. I could even say front wing damage, although it will repair itself after 30 seconds. But we'll be at a performance deficit down the straight. And speaking of, here we go, the longest straight at this circuit is total length I'm unsure of, but it's a great overtaking opportunity down towards turn 1. Played actually leading from Cameron Kaboom and Piero with a 5/10 penalty in 3rd place. Born Evil down to 4th. Oriole in 5th, but up front, Piero trying to go for a move on Cameron Kaboom, who's almost hitting the cameraman on the exit of turn 2. A huge snap of oversteer. Piero with the inside line, moves up into 2nd place, but Cameron Kaboom's not going to give this one up without a fight. But has to settle for 3rd place for now. As you can see in the bottom right hand corner of the screen next to the track map, a new addition to these cars that aren't in the standard GT3s is the overtake button. The drivers have to manually press that button on their steering wheel in order to get a boost of speed and power, as Dan may be using his to try and aid his overtake on Abyss down towards turn 7 as he moves his way up into 6th place. But that overtake does not recharge over the course of the race. It's kind of like IndyCar. They only have a limited amount to use over the race, and they have to use it wisely. Piero defensive down and towards turn 10, with Oriole pressing an attack. The Spaniard trying to find a way past the Frenchman, but Bonnie was dropped out all the way into 5th place after starting on the front row of the grid, rocking a livery that I believe was made by the Season 1 and Season 7 champion, Toussaint 0208, who's not here for this race, but will be hopefully joining us for the next one in the Red Bull Ring next week. And after having a little bit of a spin and finding the gravel trap down at turn 2, X-Strategies works his way up to the back of Black Country Motion. We look to try and get a move done as soon as possible to get his race back in with a shout of some decent points. The top 10 in this race all should be scoring points. Dan and Bon Evil going side by side temporarily through turn 2, but Bon Evil stays ahead for now. Dirty Air in this car, class's car, is really bad through the corners. Performance is limited quite significantly, but it's not going to stop Oriole from trying to find a way past Piero, although his front tyres may be taking a little bit of a beating. X-Strategies worked his way up to the back of Black Country Mush. We're going to maybe see a move down towards turn 7. We have to be side by side to go for a move in this part of the circuit. We'll keep an eye on that in the run down towards turn 10. But you can just see Piero in 3rd place is able to keep a decent enough gap to Oriole behind, who's on the overtake button in the run down towards turn 10. Meanwhile, X-Strategies, he's going to send one down the inside of Black Country Mush. Indeed, he is. Black Country Mush leaves the space on the outside, but is defenceless against the X-Strategy trying to work his way back through the pack, and Abyss is next on the list in order of overtaking. Meanwhile, Play Dirty is away, about a 2-second gap between him and Cameron Kaboom in the long run down towards turn 1. Piero rounds out the top 3. Oriole in 4th place. Can't afford to make a mistake, otherwise he's going to have Bon Evil closely behind him on his rear wing, but also trying to mount an attack on Piero for a podium position on his return to the league. What a debut, or not even a debut, what even a return that would be for car number 20, making their way through turn 4 in P4 after starting in 4th place. Bon Evil down 3 positions off the start. Natty down 3 as well, but is all over the back of Abyss through the middle sector, riding on board with this beautiful camera shot that we have on the Super Formula. You can see the graining to the front tyres on board with this Super Formula. We've only done 4 laps. Abyss is all over the place through turn 9, struggling for grip on those hard compound tyres. Down towards turn 10, Natty thought about a move to the inside as Abyss is sideways on the exit of the corner. You think it's only a matter of time. Defensive onto the grass, runs wide through turn 11 and down the inside goes X-Strategy and up into 7th place. Abyss will try and fight it on the outside, but on those fresh medium compound tyres against the hard tyres, there is only one winner in that scenario, and Natty now up into 7th place. Piero in 3rd, trying to mount an attack on Cameron in 2nd place, with Oriole closing down the gap in 4th place. But like I said earlier, Dirty Air in this car is really bad. Trying to follow a car a second in front of you really impacts your cornering speed. And at a track like Spain, where there are a lot of corners and a technical middle sector, it might be a challenge to try and be within 8-7 tenths going in towards the final 2 corners to have the run down towards turn 1. But they do have the overtake button to aid overtakes, although it can also be used to counteract it in form of a defence. For example, if Oriol was to use this now to try and close down the gap to Piero, but Piero also used this, they've evened each other out. So it's up to the drivers now to try and use their overtake wisely, adds another strategical element into each race. As you can see, Play Dutchy and Cameron Kaboom have barely touched theirs, as Piero's already used about 75% of the battery available to him, and we're just about to finish lap 5 of this 33 lap race. 1 minute 22.3 on the last lap for Piero, but a 22.1 is the fastest lap of the race, set by Cameron Kaboom in second place, lapping quicker than Play Dutchy. 22.1s compared to 22.5 and 22.2, so pretty much matching each other are the top two. Are we going to see a new title contender for Cameron Kaboom? We'll have to wait and see. We don't have all the drivers on tonight's grid. This means that Cameron Kaboom could get an extra couple of points over all the drivers here tonight will get an extra couple of points over the drivers who aren't here in tonight's race. Let's ride on board with Piero on board his pink Super Formula. As you can see, completely flat out, even on medium tyres, through turn 9, down in towards turn 10. I hope we get some great wheel-to-wheel action throughout the course of this race using this camera angle. It's really nice that they've added the TV pod cab to these Super Formulas. But as you can see, we'll just keep riding on board with Piero through these couple of corners just to see how much downforce these cars have. Nearly flat out through the final corner for Piero. There is kind of two sides of racing in this car. There's the push every lap, but there's tyre conservation. At a track like Spain, tyre wear is really bad. I think it's going to be the worst on the calendar in comparison to the likes of Monza and Trial Mountain that we have later up on the season. So make sure to stay tuned for different racing throughout the course of possibly a 10-race calendar that we have planned. Cameron Kaboom getting a little bit sideways. A lot of drivers getting a little bit sideways through turn 3. Piero with a snap of oversteer. Dan with a snap of oversteer. People struggling for rear tyre grip through turn 4. There's Abyss drifting his way through turn 4. It's like an ice ring through that fast right-hander. But meanwhile, the top two will slow down for half a second as they serve their time penalties. But yeah, throughout the course of this season, we've got lots planned up. We have a sprint race coming up next week at the Red Bull Ring, where we'll have the usual 15-minute qualifying, a 28-lap race, and then a 5-minute qualifying, followed by a 20-minute race. So it's nearly a one-shot quality. Drivers will get about 2 to 3 laps, depending on the track, to set their fastest possible time. And the fastest lap will often be that final lap, when the fuel's at its lowest and the track's at its quickest. However, for the 20-minute sprint race, there's no reverse grid, no reversing the top 8. It will be the same grid as the qualifying order, and normal points will be awarded. So it's a little bit more, it's a shorter race and a shorter qualifying. So that qualifying could be really important, especially how impactful or how much of an impact the dirty air has, especially at a track like Spain. Although for the Red Bull Ring, it may be a struggle through the middle centre. We'll have to wait and see what it's like through turn 1 and the final 2 corners. But lots of straights in next week in the Red Bull Ring. But as you can see here tonight, we've got the top 5 pretty close to one another. Born Evil just at the back of this train. Hello Piero, hello Wolfie in the chat. I haven't been ignoring you guys. More penalties coming the way of Cameron Kaboom. I didn't quite see where he picked it up, but my best guess would be turn 9, the fast speed right-hander in the middle sector. Oriol as well, picking up a 5/10 penalty. The final corner is being taken flat out by some drivers, but as Dan pulls into the pits. But like I was saying earlier, the more you push the tyre wear, as a track like Spain, it's quite high. You can just see the wear to the front tyres, especially around this clockwise circuit. The front left really being punished at this circuit. A fast-blowing right-hander at turn 3, this right-hander at turn 4, you've got the fast right-hander at turn 9, you've got the fast right-hander at turn 14, the final corner really punishes the front left. If you could only have one mechanic, maybe even two, get them all on the left-hand side tyres. And that could save you maybe a couple of tenths in the pit lane. Dan is in and out of the pit lane from soft compound tyres onto another set of soft compound tyres. So we'll have to make another pit stop in this race. Dutchy getting a 5/10 penalty for running over the white line. Down at turn 9, Cameron Kaboom launching an attack on Piero. They're side by side through turn 10. The Frenchman on the outside, but on the outside becomes the inside for turn 12. But Cameron Kaboom already got the move done round the outside, and Bon Evil's ahead of Oriole. And well down at that turn 10 corner, a really good overtaking opportunity for these drivers, as well as the long run in towards the first corner. Played actually weaving down the start-finish straight, maybe to try and get some heat into those tyres perhaps. Here comes Oriole down the inside of Bon Evil, side by side in towards turn 1. Later on the brakes is the Spaniard, and up into 4th place. It didn't look like Bon Evil wanted to fight that particularly hard. Perhaps doesn't want to lose too much time to the likes of Piero and Cameron Kaboom. 4-way fight for 2nd place as Play Dutchy now a couple of seconds down the road, but still with that 5/10 penalty, which will have to be served at the end of this lap. Oriole as well, with a 1/2 second penalty. See a couple of snaps of oversteer through turn 5 as Dexnatter G is working his way back through the pack after his offs at turn 2 on the opening lap. The Flying Fern trying to fly his way through the field in that New Zealand Super Formula. Runs over the white line, that could be a penalty. Meanwhile up front, Bon Evil swoops his way round the outside of Oriole in the battle for 4th place. The move was slightly the move was slightly aided by the fact that Oriole collected a 5/10 penalty the previous lap, but nevertheless, Bon Evil with the move done. Now Piero picking up a 1/2 second penalty. Penalties coming in thick and fast for some of these drivers. There's another one for Natty, there you have it, running over the white line. Pretty self-explanatory down at turn 9. You run too far over the white line, you get a 5/10 time penalty. That's really the main track limit violation, or where we're going to see the most track limit violations. Another one is running wide here at the final corner, go over that white line. Lose time or not, it's a 5/10 penalty. Let's run on board with the skull down. You can see completely flat out on those soft compound tyres, and uses the overtake button to get a little bit more straight line speed as well. So lap 11 out of 33, a third of the way through this race, and Play Dutchy leads, and Cameron Kaboom in 2nd, and Piero running up the podium positions in 3rd place. But for how much longer? Because with that 5/10 penalty, he's approaching the penalty gate, and he'll have to slow down for 1/2 second. It's not as much of an impact as it is in the GT3, so pretty much slowing down and back on the throttle as quickly, or not too, like I said, the acceleration of these cars makes up for the lost time, and you can always use the overtake once the penalty has been served to try and get up to that speed quicker, which may be useful at certain penalty gates. Obviously some tracks are more harsh than others in the location of the penalty gate, but for that one, it meant that Piero had to slow down for 1/2 second and lost out to Bon Evil. Are we going to see any pit stops? No, we are not on this lap. Pierre is saying we are not ready for track limits next week at the Red Bull Ring. No, we are not. It's going to be, there could be quite a lot of extensions, especially at turn 1, 3, and the final 2 corners. They're the main track limits violations. So we'll have to wait and see how much of an impact that has on drivers. Will we see some completely push lap after lap but collect more penalties, or will we see some take it a little bit easy to try and keep those 4 wheels inside the white line at all times? For lap 12 of 33, we're approaching the end of the life on these medium compound tyres. Natty and Piero very similar, looking at their front lefts. Cameron Kaboom and Play Dutchy have a little bit more life in that front left, so might stay out an extra lap. We'll have to wait and see, but I I'd put my money on the drivers who are close to a puncture picking this lap. And I'd put a little bit more money on it because... Oh, no, never mind. Ignore me. Not that yet. But Pierro's in. Cameron Caboon's into the pits. And I think Natty will also come into the pits. You know, the reason I know that is because this race happened yesterday at the time of recording. Into the pits for those three drivers. Oriole follows them in as well, which means Born Evil and Play Dutchy, the former teammates last season, staying out for another lap. So, Dutchy leads from Born Evil. Black Country Mush now running in a podium position, having not made a pit stop in this race, but has looked after his medium tyres really nicely in the opening stint of this race. Cameron Caboon's left the pit lane in 4th place. Now, what's everyone done with the fuel? It doesn't look like anyone has put in any extra laps of fuel. I've also forgot to mention Oriole, now behind Natty in 8th place. Made a mistake and span on the exit of turn 9, which is the reason he's lost a lot of time behind Natty. So Oriole on mediums, Natty now on softs, Pierre also going for softs, and Cameron Caboon on mediums, and has picked up a 5/10 penalty down at turn 9. Lots of penalties being awarded for that fast flowing right-hander, and I think we'll see many more throughout the course of this race. Cameron getting a little bit of a slide through final couple of corners. Let's ride on board with the Brits running in 4th place. We'll gain a couple of positions. Dutchy's leading the pit lane now. Will we see Born Evil on the right hand side? There he is, down towards turn 1. This will be really close between these two drivers. Side by side as Born Evil exits the pit lane. Cameron Caboon round the outside. I think they make a little bit of contact as Cameron Caboon makes his way up into 2nd place on medium compound tyres. Born Evil right behind him, also on medium tyres, but a lap pressure, which could make all the difference towards the end of this stint. You can see how much Born Evil is being affected by the dirty air. Cold tyres as well, just coming out of the pit lane. Those two battling for second will allow, or could allow I should say, Piero to gain onto the back of Born Evil and cement him closer to a podium position. Although we might see the positions change here with Cameron slowing down for half a second. Here comes Born Evil round the outside. Cameron defensive down the inside in towards turn 10. Has the inside line. Born Evil's going to try and use the traction available on the outside to try and get the run in towards turn 11 and turn 12 with the inside line. Can he get the move done? Cameron's still there on the outside, but Born Evil gets the move done. Great racing and great fighting between those two. Cameron couldn't quite defend that position and might lose another one to Piero. Here he comes in his pink Super Formula. He's got eyes set on the other Super Formula, I guess, to his left-hand side, but looks like Cameron could be maybe using a little bit of overtake to try and make that move stick. Natty G down the inside of the Scout down really late on the brakes and gets it slowed down, but has a 5/10 penalty just like the car behind. And I have to quickly realise throughout the course of the stream that I'm going to have to change my style of commentary, because often I say the car, I might say, you know, the McLaren and the Porsche are side by side, but can't really do that this season because we're all in Super Formula. It's a one-make championship, so I might have to say it's by delivery. The Golf, the Williams Golf Super Formula, the black and purple. Very nice though, very nice liveries of this season. If I can find the correct camera angle. But Play Dutchy continues to lead this race. Born Evil in second and Cameron Caboon making out the top 3. Let's have a look at some drivers' overtake. Born Evil really hasn't used much, if any, nor has Play Dutchy. The top 2 in a really good position, saving their overtake towards the end of the race, whereas it appears drivers like Cameron, Kaboom and Piero are using it throughout. Here goes Piero down the inside of Cameron, Kaboom. Cameron leaves the space available on the inside, but defends it nicely through the fast-flowing right-hander. Turn 3 they go. Piero tucked up nicely behind. Looks for a move on the inside. Cameron covers the inside. It was a late move to the inside. I think he thought Piero was going to the outside. I thought Piero was going to the outside. That's a snap of oversteer through turn 4. It's Cameron who maintains third place for now, but will have to serve a 5/10 penalty. It appears every time we get to this part of the track, I'm mentioning Cameron Kaboom slowing down for half a second. It's how he lost the position to Bon Evil, and it might be how he loses the position to Piero in the battle for 4th place. Here goes Piero round the outside. It's deja vu from the lap before. This time Piero gets the move done earlier than Bon Evil did. A nice move from Piero puts it into a podium position. Hello and welcome to everyone who is tuning in to the first round of Season 8 of the GT7 League. Bon Evil in the chat saying he can't wait for the wet driving in these beauties. Well, let me tell you, there is I think it's a 90% chance of rain for next week's race at the Red Bull Range, so take that how you see it. 2 races, so it might rain in one, it might not rain in the other. There's still a 90% chance that we get rain. Maybe one race has 90% of the race wet. Who knows how much rain we're going to get, but all I'm saying is there's a 90% chance of rain for that race weekend. A 28 lap race followed by a 20-minute sprint. So it could absolutely flood the circuit, or it might just be a little drizzle. We'll have to wait and see. But I think Polyphony have finally fixed, fingers crossed, touch wood, whatever you have to do, the wet weather system. I've done a little bit of testing before this season started, and the first 3 light rain options worked very well, to the point where it is that transitional phase between slicks and intermediates, whereas before it would just be cloudy and there'd be no rain, and only the 4th or 5th weather setting would produce a flash flood of intermediates. Any higher and then it's just a tsunami at that point, which is what we got at Fuji last season. If you didn't watch that race at Fuji, I highly recommend you go check it out on our YouTube or Twitch channel. So yeah, we've now got the option to have a race go from, whoa, we got a car off in the background, that's the Scout Dan running wide off the circuit, kind of similar to Logan Sargent in practice earlier on this Formula 1 season, those soft compound tyres struggling for grip. But like I was saying, we now have the option to go from RO1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, for example, during a race, and it'd be a progressive stage from light rain to heavy rain, as opposed to the tsunamis we've had in the past. I'm really looking forward to that. It means we can actually have sun, cloud, light rain, light rain, light rain, moderate rain. So drivers could stay out for a lap, or maybe even 4, on slick tyres whilst it's raining before it gets to the intermediate point. Whereas in previous seasons, it's just been dries, inters. Like it would just rain and be automatically inters. And I didn't like that because everyone crashed, and unless you were nearer to the pit lane, your race was practically ruined. So we can now have an option to do RO1, 2 and 3 to have a more progressive weather system. We'll have to wait and see what next week brings us. But back to this race here at Spain. Let's go through the grid order and how much it's changed from qualifying. Play Dutchy leads this race after starting on pole, and the front row hasn't changed. Bon Evil in second place with still a lot of his overtake left available at his disposal, 75%. Pierre's moved his way up through the field, up into third place. Cameron Kaboom down in 4th. We've got Natty, who's made his way back up into 5th place. It's been a good recovery from him. All real trading positions with Pierre actually, from 6th to 3rd and 3rd to 6th. Black Country Mesh in 7th place. We've got Dan in 8th, into the pits with damage and a puncture, and we've got Abyss in 9th place. X-Natty still with the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 20.9 in that silver and black New Zealand themed livery. Shout out to my livery editor for that one. got this nice... The problem with my livery editor is that he's Australian and I live in the UK. So communication happens every day, one message a day, unless I wake up early. That's never happening. At this rate, sometimes. And he made the base livery and I just added the stickers and the sponsors. So shout out to him. But whilst we have limited overtaking out on the circuit, actually no, we've got a battle for 8th place, so we'll keep on board with this. Probably should have done this at the start of the stream, but we'll go through the liveries both this week and next week, because I know we've not got a lot of drivers next week. Yeah. Oh, that's a massive slide. I was just looking at my phone because I was waiting for a text from someone quite important. No one important, like, you know, the Prime Minister or someone, but just something I was expecting today. And then I look up and I see a bit perpendicular to the racing line. A massive save and a massive slide and a massive save from the pit, but it's brought the Scout down closer to his rear diffuser. Let's ride on board in cockpit cam with the Vodafone McLaren as he hunts down that car in front. Can't remember where Dan qualified. I think it was in 8th place behind the fifth. So they have both gotten past Black Country Mush. I think he's yet to make a pit stop. Oh no, he's in 7th place. My apologies. So Black Country Mush has got ahead of these two, but you can see Dan on cold tyres appears to be struggling for grip, running wide through turn 3 and then oversteer through turn 4. All drivers running the default setup. I know there are quite a number of drivers who do not know how the setups work in this game, and unlike F1, you can't just go into time trial and download someone's setup. So default setups for these cars, they can change the brake balance, but I think that snuffer oversteer and the mistake from Dan has limited his chances of finishing in 8th place. But let's go through the liveries. Here is Play Dutchie's classic orange, black and white. I think it looks really nice, looks really aggressive. The lines through, or the horizontal stripes through the back from the halo really makes it look like a quick and aggressive car. White and black often contrast themselves. Obviously one's a dark colour, one's a bright colour, and then just throwing that bright orange in the middle really makes it stand out on the track. Bud Eagle running a classic livery, a Gulf Williams. Obviously Gulf are a sponsor of the Williams Racing Formula 1 team, and this is what a livery could look like if they chose to run it. Made by your Season 7 and Season 1 GT champion, Toussaint. Here is Piero's livery, the Forget-Me-Not pink, white and I think it's a blue or like a bluey purple. I think it looks really nice. It's different and it will stand out on the field. I think this could also have been made by Toussaint. If not, it would have been made by Piero or Black Country Mush themselves. I'm trying to look for Toussaint's kind of trademark stickers. Yeah, there it is. The X on the side of the car. You'll be able to see it on the side pod. The pink X that Toussaint uses on his liveries. Camera Gavoon's pink and purple and black livery. It's a dark livery. It's an aggressive livery. Number 65. Very nice indeed. I think it will look really nice when the sun is shining. A little bit brighter than it is today. We haven't got any night races lined up for him. But yeah, purple and black I think is a really nice colour combination, similar to Lewis Hamilton's helmet in, I think, 2021. And a really aggressive, nice style on Cameron Gavoon's car. Couple of pit stops being made. Natty into the pits, onto the mediums. Piero off of the softs, going onto, you'll have to wait and see. Look at that tyre smoke from Oriel in his car. I can't quite see the colours. A gold, predominantly white, but with a nice purple blue, and I think a pink stripe on the back. Orange, purple, and blue stripe. It's a unique car. I think this might be an official livery, you know. I don't really follow Super Formula too much, but I think this is a livery that is run in real life. But please correct me if I'm wrong. I think I am wrong. The only reason I'm suggesting it is because it's got the, I don't know what it's called, but the bit at the side underneath the halo, that kind of orange eye thing near the front tyre, because it's on Liam Lawson's car as well. And some of the sponsors are in a Super Formula. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. If it's made by Oriole, it's a really nice livery. If it's an official livery, then it's nice to see like official liveries on the grid. I think it's pretty cool. We've got myself, we've seen my livery for a little bit, the Armstrong New Zealand livery. The classic that kept the fern on the side from last season, the New Zealand flag on the side, followed by a little bit of sponsors from the Super. I just had a brain fart. I'm trying to read Piero's comment, who's saying it looks like a Campos livery, but I don't think it's an official one that they use. So fair enough. What am I trying to say? Oh yeah, the classic New Zealand flag, not the flag, the fern on the side, like I used last season, but with the addition of sponsors that are used in Super Formula, like Honda, like that's the main one. And of course Armstrong on the side for the Armstrong company. Black Country Mush running the other Forget Me Not car. Bonnie was saying it could be an IndyCar inspired, but it looks lovely either way. Could be IndyCar actually, I'm not too sure. Yeah, Black Country Mush in red, white and black. I think red, white and black look really well together. I'm trying to think of F1 liveries that have had it in the past, but the only one I can think of is Virgin and kind of Manor, but not really with the black. But anyway, I think it looks really nice. I think the fin looks really aggressive with that white coming in at that angle. And we've got Abyss running the default livery, which is, I don't know if it's the livery used in Super Formula, but it's the livery that they use to announce Super Formula. So I don't know if this is actually driven by a driver. I don't think it is. I think this is like the stock livery that they use to present the car at the start of the 23 season. And I think it's a nice livery, but I don't know what they were thinking with the brown. It looks okay, I don't really hate it, but it just kind of looks like, you know, a carpet you'll find at an old people's home that's been worn down for 70 years, that should say welcome home on the side of it. But anyway, the front looks nice, you know, with the zebra kind of tiger, well, the tiger stripes, but in the colours of a zebra, the white and black. And they put brown on the side. It's an odd choice of colour, but anyway, Abyss being shown the blue flags, as he's not going to be shown them anymore because the race leader Bon Evil's into the pits off of medium compound tyres. Cameron Kaboom follows him in second place, and Dutchy on soft compound tyres to finish this race. Could go for fastest lap on this lap as well, maybe the next one, because he's got the overtake at his disposal to make it work. Maybe that's the strategy these drivers are adopting. Save the overtake if you can. At the end of the race, when the track's at its quickest, you're on the soft compound tyres and your fuel load's at the lowest. Where will Piero filter out onto the circuit? This could be close, but Bon Evil's just got the jump. Piero on the Warner soft compound tyres. He's been on those tyres for a couple of laps now. Bon Evil's going to have the fresh tyre advantage as Dutch is out of the pits in the lead of this race by quite some margin. Cameron Kaboom in fourth, Natty ahead of Oriole in fifth place, but crucially Oriole's on fresh soft compound tyres. Natty's gone to the mediums instead for the final 13 laps from when he pitted. Black Country Mush also into the pits of medium compound tyres. Will bolt on a set of probably soft compound tyres to finish this race. The tyre wear at this track is the highest I think it will be this season, as Piero will slow down for half a second to serve a time penalty. Let's go through the calendar actually for this season, whilst we have a little bit of a breathing space in this race. So we started at Spain, where 2 different tyre compounds are mandatory, but then we head to the Red Bull Ring, where for the main race, the 28 lap race, it's the medium compound tyres that are mandatory. So that could have an impact into this race, whether it rains or not. There is a 90% chance of rain, so that could really throw strategy up in the window. If it starts wet, ends dry, do you then use the mediums at the end, or do you do soft medium, depending on how much dry running there is? Obviously, if there is wet and it doesn't dry up, then the mediums will become null and void. I think I put that in the rules. I did update the rule book this year for all the drivers watching the stream. So if you haven't, if you're unsure on any of the formats, the rules, what happens to these, this and that, blah blah blah, it's all in the rules. Everything from last season hasn't changed. Only the new things for this season have changed, such as, you know, the mandatory tyres, qualifying length, etc., etc. So yeah, if the full race is wet, there's no mandatory tyre. So I'm looking forward to next week's race. Red Bull Ring never disappoints us in the past, and we could see some wet racing. We went to the Red Bull Ring last season. Who won that race? Oh yeah, Played actually won that race from Bron Evils. So it's the same top 2 for round 1 here today. But then after the Red Bull Ring, off to Dragon Trail Seaside. If Bron Evils say the weather bar is over the first one, there's the crossover, does it still apply to the mandatory tyre? I didn't quite see the end of that because I started having a stroke halfway through. But don't worry, let's just put it this way, the medium tyres will be used in the main race, I think. Whether it starts wet and finishes dry, or starts dry, finishes wet, the medium tyres, I think, will be available to use. If the full race, for either next week or any race, is over the first bar, see, I haven't really thought this through, but then I kind of have. If the race starts wet, it is declared a wet race, and therefore, if it dries up, how do I put this without trying to get clipped to when it happens? So if the race will start wet, and then if it finishes wet, but dry enough for people to pit for slicks, those drivers who pit for slicks will have to pit for medium compound tyres, but you will not be punished if you do not pit for the medium compound tyres and if it's down into mediums. I think that's the best way to do it, although I don't think we'll be in that situation where it will happen. But if you start the race on softs and it then gets wet, you haven't used the medium compound tyres and you had the chance to. I think for every other race where there's a high chance of rain or it could rain, I've said 2 different tyre compounds, but then we also have the sprint, so that 90% could be applying to the sprint. It might just rain for the whole of the sprint, and it might not even rain for the whole of the 28 lap race. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, let's cross that bridge when we get to it. We won't be in that situation. I'm kind of just, someone just get a digger, because I'm just digging a massive hole here and I'm never going to climb myself out of it at this rate. The gaps in this race tonight have been pretty extensive. Played actually leading the field by quite some margin over Bonnie, over 10 seconds between those two. Pierre in third, Cameron Kaboom in fourth, Matt in fifth. Yellow flags, nearly T-bones a sideways abyss through turn 12. We've got Oriole in seventh, gaining on Nash. It's only going to be a matter of time probably before he overtakes the Brit. Yeah, Drivers in the chat, don't worry, we're not going to find ourselves in a crisis where someone's not used the mandatory tyres, or there's not been you haven't been able to use the mandatory tyre because it's a wet race or whatever. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Anyway, back to racing action on lap 30 of 33. This race really has gone by relatively quickly despite the limited on-track action. Spain in last season has provided really nice racing, although with limited drivers, Natty nearly facing the wall could cost him the position to Oriol, riding on board with Oriol. Now flicking it down to Natty, trying to hunt down the back of that car, but I think it's a fight not worth fighting. Oriol running a little bit wide, but on fresh soft compound tyres against warm medium compound tyres. You can see the wear, the graining to the front left, and they're still going flat through the final corner. They are, even on worn medium compound tyres, although it's nearly ended in a fatal lap soon, although it has ended in a 5/10 penalty for ex-Natty G. Anyway, yeah, going through the calendar, we've got Drug Control Seaside. That should be a really fun, high-speed showdown, especially through the fast left-right death chicane in the middle sector. After that, we've got Trial Mountain, where all 3 tyres are mandatory. That will be an interesting race. We'll then head over to Interlagos before the break week, or the circuit that Gilles Villeneuve, if that gets added to the game. It's in the game files, but hasn't quite been added. Also, drivers and viewers watching, for those of you who are fans of Gran Turismo, I have news on a potential new track. I do not know how to pronounce it, but I'll give it my best shot. I think it's the Eiger Circuit, E-I-G-E-R, Eiger Circuit? The Eiger Circuit could be returning to the game after Sony and Gran Turismo shot a video, I think, promoting the Gran Turismo film, or they were promoting something, and there was a scene of the location they were filming was at the same location where the Eiger Circuit is based. That could be a fun track to get added to the game, whether it does or not. I will not be disappointed if it's not added, but I will be certainly happy if it does get added. That would be amazing if it does, but there have been a lot of tracks rumoured and leaked to come. We've had Canada, we've had Hungaroring, there's been Apricot Hill, now the Eiger Circuit, Red Rock Valley. Those 5 tracks have all in some way been leaked, rumoured or teased to be added to Gran Turismo at some point, although we've not had a track since Grand Valley, and that was in February. This is August. Technically July, because we haven't had the August update yet. Dutchy starts the final lap of the race, and the Body Evil in second place. We've got ex-Natty G putting on the last lap of the race to go for the final lap. Final lap, the fastest lap of this race. We'll have to wait and see whether he can complete it or not. Let's actually remove the UI from the bottom, and then we'll get an onboard POV shot. POV shot? No, that doesn't sound right. Onboard hot lap, that's what I was meant to say. Also quickly on the Eiger Circuit, whether we get the full Eiger Circuit or not, or just the short, maybe even both, I don't know, but I have to wait and see. Anyway, back to the racing action. It's 33 laps later of this, I think 2.5 mile circuit, I think 4.7 kilometres. Play Dutchy has led pretty much every single lap from start to finish. He started on pole and got those 3 points. He hasn't quite got the fastest lap of the race so far, but he starts this season as he finishes the last. Black Country Mush pulls out of the way and lets Dutchy go through. He's got 2 corners to go. It's been a commanding race win from the reigning world champion. He rounds the final corner for the final time in this race. First to see the checkered flag and wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Bon Evil finishes in second place ahead of Piero in third. Cameron Capoon will finish in fourth. This has been a close fight for third place. Piero with a puncture for the last 2 laps has really allowed Cameron Capoon to close down the gap when he gets him across the line. Just misses out on a podium position. Oriol will finish in 5th. Now let's go on board with ex-Natty G. Purple through the first sector. Can he get it through the middle sector, a little bit cautious through the 7-8 chicane, but doesn't need to hold anything back. Runs a little bit wide through turn 9. Would that be a 5-10 penalty? He's 9/10 up on his lap, but he's got a penalty through the fast flowing right hander, trying to push the track limits as far as they'll go. But on the final lap of the race, he will not get to the fastest lap of the race, but we'll keep riding on board through the final couple of corners to see how much commitment there is. I think it's just trying to finish the race at this point, and across the line to finish in 6th place. We've got Black Country Mush in 7th place, Abyss in 8th, and I'm saying I've missed something across the line, so whilst I'm doing the outro, we'll have a look at that little thing. Bonnie's burnout is across the line. That's not allowed. That's been banned due to Max Verstappen doing it in Austria. So that, my friend, is a reprimand. Bonnie will now be fined, I don't know, £10,000 for a burnout across the line. If Max can't do it, you can't do it. There you go. Bonnie was now £10,000 in debt. Anyway, yeah, so Dutchy, we'll go from bottom to top, and that was a pretty close finish from Cameron Kaboom. Let's just ride on board, see how close it was. Through the final corner, Pierre is struggling for grip, praying that the line came sooner than it did. But there you have it. All 8 drivers across the line, apart from... Oh, damn it. I didn't mean to do that. Apart from the Scouts Dan. Ooh. Oh, no, the race didn't finish on this, so we'll quickly go to the end. So from bottom to top, we've got the Scout Dan, who finished in 9th place. I just had to quickly remember how many drivers we had on the grid. So, what am I trying to do? There we go. We've got Abyss in 8th place. From bottom to top, Abyss in 8th. Black Country Mush in 7th. Myself in 6th. Oriole in 5th. Cameron Kaboom in 4th. Followed by Piero in 3rd. Bonneville in 2nd with the fastest lap. And Dutchy from pole to victory here in Spain. And there you have it. It's another race-winning photo for the Dutchman in this championship. I say this championship, this league I should say. This championship's only just begun. And there you have it. Your race winner for round 1, season 8 here in Super Formula in Spain. If you enjoyed that race, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. That would be appreciated. If you're interested in Formula 1 racing, there is a playoff championship hosted at France, Texas, and Qatar. The 3 races in that championship, predominantly aimed at newer drivers to the league. So if you're watching this and you're not a part of the Gavra Racing community, make sure to join our Discord through the website. Just type Gavra Racing into Google or Bing, whatever your preferred search engine is. Should be the first one that comes up, and just contact Gavra if you're interested in taking part in those 3 races on Monday and Wednesday. The Monday league is for no assists, and the Wednesday league is for assists, or if you can't do Monday, and vice versa. Make sure to join us next week for same time, same place. Whether I say same time, it might be streamed later on a Saturday. It could be streamed on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know. My schedule is through the roof at the minute, so we'll have to wait and see. But next week's race at the Red Bull Ring, there's a 90% chance of rain and the first sprint of the season. Thank you guys for joining me throughout the course of the stream. Thank you for watching it back on YouTube or Twitch if you're not watching this live. I've been X-Strategy, your admin, commentator, racing driver, whatever. You do the rest. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.